to marathonjourney.com, v3.11, where I use the Jeff Galloway Run, Walk, Run program to turn myself from a running skeptic to a marathon maniac. Very cool, nice morning this morning. We're in tights and long sleeves. We probably won't be needing them shortly because we're doing 7 miles, and in that 7 miles we are going to do a magic mile, something that we haven't done in a very long time, so that will be interesting. The other interesting thing is I have a new swoosh band, by the way, thanks to Kevin Gwynn over at the Extra Mile podcast after I trashed mine in the faceplant incident a few weeks ago. But the most interesting thing is I am run testing for the very first time the Garmin Forerunner 620, and we're going to try doing live track. We're going to compare it to the Garmin 610. This is going to be the first of the run tests, and hopefully we'll be able to get the Bluetooth integration and all that working, but brand new, so we'll see how it goes. We're going to be comparing pace and actual distance against the 610 and kind of how all the features work. So we'll let you know how that goes. And in the meantime, we've got a little bit of warm up to do, and then we're going to head over to the track and start our magic mile and then have a really nice time. So we'll see you a little farther down the road. That does it for this week. We have more than 7 miles in the books for today. We ran a little bit longer, and it was one of those runs. Have you ever had one where you'll look down at your GPS and you go, man, this run is almost over, dang it. And that was the run today. It was scheduled to be 7 miles with a magic mile. We ended up 7.51 miles. Because I went a little long and I didn't care. And actually, as I was coming back up, if it hadn't been for everybody else running with me, I'd have said, let's keep going, add another mile or two to this thing, because it's just one of those runs. The magic mile was just as painful as I remember, but I believe it's a PR. Just going from my splits, I think that it's a magic mile PR for me, so we'll have to see, and maybe we'll do a graphic to let you know if that was in fact the case, but I think it was. As far as the Garmin Forerunner 620, we are gonna have to really look at the tracks, because from what I can tell, now I am running the Run heart rate monitor, and I'm running a foot pod. There's no reason that the GPS should be taking any of the foot pod information into account for distance, only for cadence. The Garmin 610, which is normally solid right on at a mile, on a mile marker, it might come up 1.01 miles. I have 7.51 miles. On the new Garmin Forerunner 620, it just went into timeout mode. According to the Garmin Forerunner 620, 7.99 miles. That's 7.51 versus 7.99 miles. Almost a half a mile difference in distance, so it went long. That appears to be so far an epic fail. And there have been reports of about a 10% distance variation using the foot pod versus using the internal centrifugal calculator. Excuse me. Everything keeps going on power save because I've been talking too long. But we'll have to put the tracks up to see. But like I said, generally the 610 is absolutely rock solid as far as distance goes. And the difference between 7.51 and 7.99 miles, you say, well, that's That's not that bad. Well, that makes a difference of either my pace was 13:48 or my pace was 12:56. Now the difference between a 12:56 pace and a 13:48 pace is huge. I mean huge. If your PR was 13:48 and you went out and you ran a 12:56, you would be jumping up and down shouting hallelujah, because that would just be an absolute breakthrough. That's how much difference that little bit makes. So we'll be looking at it to see, and we'll be trying another run early this coming week without the foot pod to see if, well, maybe if the foot pod somehow is creeping into the calculation. It shouldn't. It should only look at cadence with the foot pod and go strictly with the GPS for distance. But like I said, early firmware with this has shown some flaws. Other than that, there are a lot of things I like about this device. It is light. It's fairly easy to read. It's not easy to read in shadow, and when it starts getting fairly dark, unless you turn on the backlight. And the backlight is slightly dimmer than the 610, by the way, because the face itself, the white or the gray background, is actually darker than it is on the 610. So 610 is somewhat more readable than the 620, but overall it's very light, it's easy, it's responsive. We just recorded live track out to see how that works. We're going to check to see how live track works. Connects to the iPhone very well. So far there's no Android app for it, but we'll keep an eye on that and see how that goes. And then when we get back, we should be able to just wirelessly link everything up without even using an ant stick. So we'll let you know how that goes. In the meantime, I hope your training has been going as wonderfully well as mine. Beautiful fall weather, a great run, had a great time. Hope you're doing that too. And the only way you can do that is to put one foot out the door, get out there, and if you do that, we'll be seeing you out here on the road.